really fast. Wow. Suddenly there was nothing, and suddenly there was this.
There is something truly magical about the beaches. The whispering breeze and the gentle touch of the sun weave a spell of tranquility. Yet within this idyllic haven, the vast mysteries of the ocean often yield unexpected marvels. Join us as we unveil 15 astonishing incidents on these sandy shores that you would never believe if they weren't captured on camera. Number 15. World War II love letters. Like a plot from a romantic war movie, love letters were found washed up on a beach in New Jersey by a 14-year-old boy after Hurricane Sandy in 2012. The boy, Patrick, and his mom, Kathleen Cheney, were walking along the beach when Patrick spotted a box tied with a ribbon. In the box were 57 love letters between Dorothy Fallon and Lynn Farnham between 1942 and 1945. Lynn was a soldier who served in World War II, stationed far away, while Dorothy, a passionate teacher, resided in the heart of New Jersey. Their letters mirrored a timeless tale of affection and longing, capturing the essence of an era marked by turmoil and separation. The letters, carefully stored in a delicate cedar box, were tragically destroyed when Hurricane Sandy ravaged Dorothy's house. Miraculously, the currents carried the cherished box to the shore, where it lay waiting, a bittersweet testimony to a love that had weathered the storms of time. Captivated by the tender sentiments expressed within the letters, Patrick and Kathleen embarked on a quest to uncover the fate of Dorothy and Lynn. Their online search revealed a poignant truth. Dorothy and Lynn had married in 1948, building a life together that bore witness to the highs and lows of the passing decades. Lynn's passing in 1991 and Dorothy's in 2010 marked the end of a chapter. But their love endured as they lay side by side in eternal rest in a New Jersey cemetery. Number 14. Grand Theft Yacht. In early March of 22, a man in Newport Beach, California decided it was a great day to steal a boat. But not just any boat, a 60-foot yacht from the Balboa Bay Resort. Since it was being serviced, he knew the keys would still be inside. He waited for the workers to leave and leaped from the dock to the deck, but he didn't make it very far. While going for a joyride in the harbor, Joel underestimated his speed. Several witnesses were standing on the docks when Joel steered the boat right toward them. One captured the moment when Grand Theft boat turned into 8 counts of vandalism. As the video shows, the stolen yacht crashed full speed into the dock. The boater had no control as the boat's momentum carried it sideways across the channel, smashing into boats and property along the way. Debris flies everywhere before the yacht comes to a grinding halt wedged against a sea wall. According to the story, someone caught Joel trying to steal a Rolls-Royce earlier that day. He took off when he heard the approaching sirens and then ran into the marina, spotting the boat. Police pursued him by land while harbor patrol vessels tried to intercept him on the water. But Joel was determined to evade capture in his new seafaring getaway car. Clearly, Joel lacked any boating skills, let alone handling a vessel of this size. Steering it was like trying to control a runaway freight train. The throttle was stuck wide open as the powerful twin diesel engines propelled the yacht forward relentlessly. Besides damage to the yacht itself, the collisions caused over $300,000 in destruction to pier pilings and several smaller boats. Number 13. Century-old message in a bottle. In 2015, the oldest message in a bottle known to exist was discovered. The astonishing find was a note dated over 100 years prior to its discovery. This glimpse into the past was uncovered by a German woman named Marianne Winkler while walking along the shore of Amrum Island. Initially, Winkler assumed the bottle contained a recent note of no importance. However, curiosity compelled her to take it home. Upon examination, her husband noticed intricate handwriting visible through the weathered glass. He carefully broke the bottle open, revealing a paper covered in century-old writing. The note was penned in German, English, and Danish. Instructions on the reverse asked the finder to fill out a questionnaire and return it to the Marine Biological Association in Plymouth, England. In exchange, they would receive a shilling coin. The Winklers excitedly complied by sending in the form. This set off a series of revelations as records confirmed the note's origin. It was cast into the North Sea in November 1902 by British scientist George Parker Bidder. He released over 1,000 such bottles as part of pioneering research on ocean currents. Amazingly, this sole surviving example had floated unseen for over 100 years before its recovery. The Marine Biological Association confirmed that the note was authentic. Moreover, the find was recognized by the Guinness Book of Records as the oldest message in the world. And, as promised in the note, the German couple received their shilling. This serendipitous discovery provides a fascinating glimpse into the past. The bottle itself was an old-fashioned green gin bottle, with a cork and wax seal. The paper inside was discolored, but the pencil writing was still legible in beautiful cursive handwriting. The wording and phrasing had an endearingly formal politeness. Number 12. Police chase on Venice Beach. Imagine you're peacefully relaxing on the beach, enjoying the sunny weather, when suddenly, right before your eyes, a real police chase for a criminal begins. That's exactly what happened to a drone owner who decided to capture the incident from a bird's-eye view. In the aerial footage, you can see a man running from the police through the water, hoping the officers won't catch him. At first, it seems like he's doing an excellent job escaping, but eventually he falls and gets caught. This incident occurred on the famous Venice Beach in Los Angeles. It turns out the police had been chasing the criminal who had committed burglary for half an hour already. They pursued him by land and sea, but struggled to apprehend the nimble fugitive. He reached the popular beach and continued his escape attempt through the water. However, stamina runs out eventually, and a clumsy fall sealed his fate. Dozens of beachgoers watched the dramatic pursuit unfold right in front of them, just like in the movies. The swimming suspect probably thought the crowds would provide cover and make the cops hesitate, but the multitude of cell phone cameras only guaranteed his humiliation was caught from every angle. On the bright side, it shows the futility of attempting to escape by water. On land, vehicle chases at least offer a chance of getting away if the driver knows back roads. But taking to the ocean or bay only allows pursuers to cut off your escape routes. Swimming speed is no match for marine patrol vessels. Add beach crowds eager to see you get nabbed, and the criminal is literally swimming against the tide, both literally and figuratively. Number 11. Near whale swallowing. Many tourists go on excursions into the open ocean to witness the beauty of humpback whales breaching. But two American women, Julie McSorley and Liz Cottrell, got more than they bargained for and nearly became whale prey themselves. In the San Luis Passage on the Pacific coast, humpback whales are often seen feeding. One morning, the women decided to paddle kayaks close and observe them. However, they drifted too near just as the whales lunged to feed on a bait ball of fish. Dramatic drone footage shows the enormous humpback whale emerging from the watermouth open and practically swallowing the women's kayak whole. The women stated they suddenly saw a school of fish ahead, followed instantly by the breaching whale. They tried frantically to paddle away, but it was too late. The whale's head landed with a huge splash just inches from their boat. The size comparison is frighteningly apparent on video. The whale's head is wider than the entire kayak, which looks like a small toy being twirled around helplessly in the creature's wake. The women had only seconds to react to avoid being capsized or dragged underwater. Scrambling to stabilize themselves, they emerged shaken but unscathed. Near misses between whales and small boats are more common than one might expect. Their huge size and force while lunging to feed on dense bait balls can inadvertently suck in nearby vessels. Whales are so focused on rounding up their prey that they don't notice or care about objects in their path. There have been collisions where whales fully overturned fishing skiffs and kayaks, sometimes fatally if boaters got trapped under their massive heads. Number 10. Mysterious giant eyeball. A beachcomber was roaming Florida's Pompano Beach when he stumbled across a giant eyeball. It was unmistakably an eyeball, but from what creature, no one knew. He promptly handed over the eye to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, who then sent it to the St. Petersburg Fish and Wildlife Research Institute in Florida. Genetic testing would uncover from which critter this eye came. The bone around the eye ruled out a squid. If it did come from a fish, it's likely to be one that's far larger than most people have ever seen before. The eyeball measured over 5 inches wide and had a blue iris, leading to speculation of its origins. Bluefin tuna in the Atlantic can reach 10 feet long and over 1,500 pounds. With eyes the size of baseballs, they would be a prime suspect. Oarfish, the longest bony fish species at over 50 feet, also possess large blue eyes. Or perhaps a monster of the deep, yet unknown to science, lurks in the inky blackness offshore. Of course, mysteries spawn local legends. Some conjecture the eye must have belonged to a massive sea monster or prehistoric aquatic beast. Creative explanations involve descendant creatures from the age of dinosaurs populating the ocean depths. Though scientifically implausible, such notions appeal to our desire for magical thinking. More pragmatically, the eye likely became dislodged from the decomposition of a deceased creature. Fish eyes are mostly water and gelatinous matter surrounding a spherical lens. They deteriorate rapidly after death. Tides and waves then carried the eyeball ashore. While not as fantastical an origin story, it points to unseen dramas beneath the waves. What fate befell the aquatic giant, and what events led to this gruesome artifact being deposited on the beach? Though we can only speculate, it reminds us of nature's cruelty and indifference even amidst the ocean's beauty. Number 9. Live World War II era bomb. A family was picnicking at Barry Island Port in Wales when their 2 young children noticed something washing up on the beach. It was a round metal ball with barnacles on it, and they thought nothing of it. The kids investigated it, had their photo taken with it, and carried on with their picnic. However, when Pembry County Park officials announced that the buoy on the beach was a United States military mine bomb, the family was shocked. Someone who had seen their family photo online alerted them to the discovery. The bomb was thought to date back to World War II and had been called in to the bomb squad by a Coast Guard who noticed writing on it once the barnacles started to fall away. The beach was evacuated, and the bomb was detonated in a controlled setting. For this family, what began as a pleasant seaside picnic quickly turned into an alarming brush with unexploded ordnance from over 70 years ago. The innocuous-looking object the children handled could have potentially blasted them to pieces. It highlights the lingering legacy of wars across the decades and generations. Coastal areas of the United Kingdom are still plagued by wartime remnants. Dump sites were made in the ocean for expired ammunition and supplies. Shipwrecks and downed aircraft also litter the seafloor with high explosives. Winter storms and shifting tides bring these hidden hazards to light periodically. Number 8. Swarm of red crabs. In July 2023, beaches in San Diego were invaded by small red pelagic crabs. The crabs likely came from Mexico due to warm ocean currents shifting their distribution patterns northward. Numerous videos online show the invasion with countless tiny crabs covering the beaches entirely. This species of crab is small, ranging from 2.5 to 7.5 centimeters. They usually inhabit the Mexican Baja Peninsula, but sometimes warmer currents push them further north. Scientists tried to explain why California was invaded by so many crabs. According to them, these large gatherings of arthropods form due to inflows of warm water. In 2022, a massive warm water basin developed in the Pacific Ocean between Mexico and Canada. Scientists are still trying to understand its nature and causes. Similar crab influxes have occurred before, always linked to warm water flows. While the phenomenon looks unusual, and one could easily gather kilograms of these crustaceans for dinner, scientists warn against eating them. The crabs likely contain toxins harmful to humans even if they appear harmless. For beachgoers, the scenes looked like something out of a horror movie. The swarming red crustaceans crawling over every grain of sand gave the illusion of beaches bleeding. The crabs' hard shell cases crunched underfoot with each step. Wading into the surf brought no relief as the water teemed with the skittering creatures too. Local businesses took a hit as tourism dropped in areas affected by the creepy crawly invasion. Coastal real estate also suffered as both renters and buyers shied away despite plummeting prices. Videos of the crabs went viral on social media, fanning public unease. Parents especially feared letting their children play on beaches amidst the artificial red tide. Number 7. Enormous sea turtle. Many tourists go on excursions hoping to encounter interesting and rare underwater inhabitants along the coast. The person behind this video was lucky to discover an incredibly rare giant leatherback turtle that was more than 2 meters long while roaming a secluded beach. Leatherback turtles are the largest sea turtles and the fourth largest modern reptile. Adults average 6 feet long and weigh 500 to 1,500 pounds. This one on the beach was exceptionally large. The tourist first recorded a video of his unbelievable find and then contacted the New Zealand Department of Conservation. A staff herpetologist named David Egnor stated that he had never seen a leatherback turtle in his 20 years of work. For New Zealand, this was truly the first documented sighting of the elusive creatures. Normally, leatherbacks inhabit the open ocean and almost never come ashore. Yet this one somehow turned up on a remote beach far from its tropical and subtropical territory. Upon examination, it was determined the turtle died of natural causes related to old age. Leatherbacks can live 30 to 50 years, with this one likely reaching the maximum lifespan before finally passing away. Its body showed no signs of human interference or predators, allowing it to die peacefully. Scientists performed a necropsy to study the rare specimen. Other tourists may occasionally encounter living leatherback giants during nesting season when pregnant females lumber ashore under the cover of night to lay eggs on tropical beaches. Their size inspires awe but requires caution, as adult leatherbacks can bite through crab traps and have sharp claws. However, they rarely attack humans unless threatened. This enormous individual provided valuable data to researchers by its appearance on a new island. The turtle's stomach contents helped identify its migration path and habitat. Skin and tissue samples further scientific knowledge of the mysterious leatherback life cycle. All parts of the turtle were respectfully gathered for educational purposes after it was laid to rest. Number 6. Rare oarfish. In old maritime lore, stories abounded of sea monsters lurking in the depths. Massive serpents and fish of implausible proportions were rumored to snatch sailors and capsize ships. Many turned out to be exaggerated tales or creatures seen only fleetingly. But from time to time, the ocean yields evidence of its strangest inhabitants. Such was the case when a New Zealander fishing near Otago Harbor hauled up a catch for the ages. The bizarre fish he spotted in the shallows was unlike anything seen before. It possessed an elongated silver body over 11 feet long, topped with a spiny red mane. The video he captured quickly went viral across the internet. Marine experts identified the species as an oarfish, an elusive deep-sea giant. They inhabit between 600 to 3,000-foot depths, surfacing so rarely that some consider them ocean myths. The largest recorded was a 56-foot giant discovered in 1861, perpetuating sea serpent lore. With its snake-like shape and luminescent dorsal fin, glimpses of the oarfish inspired fantastical stories of underwater monsters. This New Zealand discovery marked the first confirmed oarfish in those waters. For scientists, it provided an unprecedented opportunity to study the evasive animal up close. Tissue samples were taken, and their unique adaptations were cataloged before returning to the sea. Encounters like this advance knowledge of marine life hidden far from human eyes. Rare finds remind us how even in today's connected world, nature still harbors secrets. For all we know, creatures matching the imaginations of old-time sailors patrol the ocean's darkest recesses. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. In times of war, the coastline often bore the weight of heavy military deployment. However, in a surprising turn of events in the spring of 2023, approximately 8,000 soldiers from the Mexican Naval Infantry stormed the sun-kissed shores of popular tourist hubs such as Acapulco and Cancun. This strategic move was a direct response to the alarming surge in violent crimes that had plagued these vacation hotspots over the past year, threatening to cripple Mexico's lucrative tourism industry. The decision to restore order was urgent following the tragic killing of 8 tourists in violent attacks on the beaches of Acapulco and Cancun in 2022. Entire battalions were mobilized to assert authority and deter further lawlessness. Armored vehicles patrolled the beaches, while offshore warships maintained a vigilant guard. While the media portrayed the soldiers' presence as a significant statement, some argue that this move may have been more about optics than addressing the underlying issues. Will this deployment truly solve the problem? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 5. Orca Encounter. In Pedder Bay off Vancouver Island, a couple was fishing when suddenly a sea lion leaped onto their small boat, frightening them tremendously. Ernest and Vyacheslav Godek decided to fish far from shore when they spotted a pod of orcas nearby. Then they heard a loud thump against their boat. A sea lion had jumped onto the deck, seeking refuge from the orcas. The couple first thought it was an orca attacking when they saw the large animal emerge from the water. Sea lions have few escapes from their predators. The quick-thinking mammal recognized the humans represented its only chance of surviving the close encounter. Understandably, Ernest and Vyacheslav panicked since their tiny boat was not made for an additional hundreds of pounds of weight. Any sudden movement risked capsizing them all into the frigid water where, injured and disoriented, they would be easy prey for the circling orcas. Photos show the petrified couple hugging the boat's side while the sea lion cowers near the motor, equally terrified of its near brush with death. They remained frozen in fear, avoiding provoking the agitated creature. Eventually, the sea lion gathered the courage to slide back into the sea after the orcas moved on. The Godeks escaped, shaken but relieved. Wildlife experts advise not encouraging contact with marine mammals. Though the sea lion was just following its instincts, its panic could have caused real harm. In nature, animals tolerating humans out of desperation can lead to risky outcomes for both parties. Number 4. Japan's tsunami and nuclear disaster. On March 11, 2011, off the eastern coast of the island of Honshu, the strongest earthquake in Japan's history occurred. Its magnitude was estimated at 9 on the Richter scale. The epicenter of the earthquake was in the Japan Trench. As a result of the earthquake, a powerful tsunami formed affecting many Pacific coastal countries. However, Japan suffered the most. The tsunami struck Japanese cities instantaneously, and people simply didn't have time to evacuate. The towns of Minamisanriku, Rikuzentakata, Sendai, and Yamada were the most severely affected. Waves reaching up to 10 meters destroyed everything in their path. Despite a high-tech warning system, over 19,000 people perished under the massive wave. The horrific devastation following the earthquake can be seen in footage taken by witnesses, but the tragedy for the Japanese did not end there. The tsunami also caused a meltdown at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant. Floodwaters disabled backup generators which cooled the reactors after the quake shut down. With power lost, reactors overheated and released radiation requiring over 100,000 residents to evacuate the area. It was the worst nuclear disaster since Chernobyl. Coastal seawalls reached over 40 feet high, but proved no match for waves topping 130 feet. Japanese authorities did everything possible to stabilize the situation, but it will take 30 to 40 years to fully mitigate the consequences of the accident. In total, more than 19,000 people died as a result of the earthquake, and about 2,500 are still listed as missing. This tragedy is one of the largest in the world. The disaster also revealed flaws in nuclear safeguards not designed to withstand cascading failures. While Fukushima's reactors largely withstood the initial earthquake, the multi-pronged catastrophe exceeded fail-safe abilities. Criticism was leveled at oversight agencies for lax enforcement of safety requirements that could have lessened the radioactive releases. The economic toll was also immense. Initial estimates put the damage at over $300 billion, making it the costliest natural disaster on record. Whole industries like agriculture, fisheries, and manufacturing were devastated. The disruption to global supply chains led to shortages around the world. Japan's position as an economic leader was threatened due to the long road to recovery. Number 3. San Francisco's unearthed history. On Ocean Beach in San Francisco, strolling visitors periodically encounter an eerie sight: gravestones emerging from the sands. Far from any cemetery, these tombstones originate from the city's burial grounds, relocated over a century ago to make way for development. During the 1920s and 30s, many cemeteries in rapidly growing San Francisco were closed due to lack of space. As land values increased, bodies were exhumed and transferred to new locations outside the city. Headstones were recycled for building materials like shoring up the Ocean Beach seawall. Shifting beach sands periodically uncover the repurposed grave markers, creating an otherworldly atmosphere. Names, dates, and epitaphs are glimpsed on stones dating back to the Gold Rush era and beyond. They are ghosts of the city's past, reminding us that even landmarks have prior histories. Even lifelong residents react with surprise when tombstones surface, having forgotten the land's role as an eternal resting place. Their appearance underscores how even cities viewed as new by American standards have buried layers. The bustling metropolis was erected atop traces of those who came before. The policy of reusing headstones may seem insensitive by modern standards, but in early 20th century San Francisco, pragmatism ruled. As the population exploded, city planners struggled to accommodate the influx. They saw old cemeteries as an impediment to growth that needed relocation, by force if required. Additionally, residents at the time showed less reverence for burial customs. Built atop ever-shifting sands, maintaining cemeteries was considered a wasted effort. The dead made way for the living through necessity. Moving tombstones to the seawall completed the transformation from sacred ground to a recreational beach. Number 2. Ice shove at Fort Erie. In late February 2019, a local named George Kourounis was filming along the retaining wall at Fort Erie when massive chunks of ice began pouring over. These ice sheets form on the Niagara River when it gets cold enough. When the wind picks up, it causes what's known as an ice shove. George learned firsthand how dangerous ice shoves can be. The footage shows the ice chunks blasting over the wall with incredible force. The current is moving so fast that the blocks move up before slamming down on shore. Next, we see huge mounds of ice and snow on the road. It looks like a team of snowplows just cleared a parking lot. In reality, all that ice came off the Niagara River. The Niagara Falls area experienced hurricane-force winds over 48 hours. Thousands of people lost power. Businesses had to close and schools couldn't hold classes. All that wind forced the top layer of ice up and over the barrier walls. In some places, it piled as high as 30 feet. This phenomenon occurs due to the unique hydrology and weather extremes around the Great Lakes Basin. Enormous volumes of water get flowing rapidly in the river, but once winter hits, the surface starts to freeze solid. This forms a capped lid over the rushing water beneath. The cap expands as more water freezes. When heavy winds come along, it lifts and breaks chunks of that ice lid. The chunks ride the current and crash over whichever obstacles lay in their path. Objects on shore get bulldozed by the sheer mass and momentum of these icy projectiles. The results can be just as destructive as storm surges on the ocean coasts. Number 1. Million-year-old fossil. In 2012, scientists uncovered an astonishing 80-million-year-old dinosaur fossil off the coast of Washington's San Juan Islands. While searching for ancient marine fossils, researchers came across a large mineralized bone protruding from a rocky outcrop. Its location and appearance suggested something remarkable. After a full day excavating the stubborn stone encasing it, the fossil was transported to Seattle for further study. Careful preparation and analysis over 18 months revealed the fossil was a theropod dinosaur thigh bone. Theropods were the dominant predator species of the Cretaceous period, including famous dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus rex. This individual was estimated at about 15 feet long, not yet fully grown. CT scans let scientists examine the interior structure of the fossilized bone in minute detail. They determined several characteristics of the owner. It lived in an estuary habitat, evidenced by river and ocean sediment laminated around the bone. Likely a juvenile just reaching maturity, its death so close to shore seemed unusual. The San Juan Islands were vastly different 80 million years ago. Part of the Cascadia subduction zone, the area was frequently rocked by earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Lands rose and plunged beneath the waves as the North American tectonic plate consumed the oceanic Juan de Fuca plate. Most spectacularly, the islands were completely submerged under the western interior seaway. This vast inland sea split North America into two separate landmasses for millions of years. The bone found was deposited on the seafloor, then lifted over eons as the plates collided and mountains rose. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.